it is a week I will talk to you about my week, because it was
And we want to hear about your week.
It's quite insane.
Yes.
Dealing at levels way above my pay grade. I just want to tell you kind of how my path got there, which has to do with a lot of things in my study of this. Anyways, Ross is texting me. Yeah, whenever you can go live, Ross. Whenever you're ready, just give me that thumbs up. We're ready.
Ready or not, here we are.
Here it comes.
And the days are getting shorter, and it's getting darker earlier. So it's about Shabbat right now in New York.
We were under tornado watches today, which is extremely unusual for upstate New York.
Stop that.
What?
Cats are digging at the furniture.
Cats. It's those cats. Cats are destroying our new furniture, which is what they do. I'm not sure why. Patty wants them, though.
Stop.
So are we live yet, Ross? About ready to go live. Yeah, we're live. Okay. Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Nice to see you all again.
It's August 9th, 2024, the 5th of Av. And we always begin by speaking out loud the A version of the Shema Israel. We'll read it in English. And this is kind of put together from the Moses scroll, which I got from Ross Nichols. Hear, O Israel, Elohim, our Elohim. Elohim is one. And you shall love Elohim, your Elohim, with all your heart, with all your soul, very exceedingly. And these words which I am commanding you today shall be upon your heart, and taught incisively to your children. And you shall speak of them when you sit in your house, and as you walk along the way, and when you lie down, and when you rise. And you shall bind them for a sign upon your hand, and they will be as bands between your eyes. And you shall write them on the doorframes of your house and your gates, because Elohim made a covenant with you in Oreb on the day of the assembly. And then the importance of the Sabbath, the Sabbath command. It is the second commandment in the Moses scroll. Sanctify the seventh day, and you shall cease on it, because in 6 days I made the heavens and the earth, and all that is in them, and I ceased on the seventh day. Therefore you shall also cease, you and your animal and all that is yours. I am Elohim, your Elohim. Our animals might look like they're working, but they are definitely off the calendar.
Yeah, they're not doing anything productive anyway. That's
all right. Sure. If I could go to the third slide, Ross. This week in history, August 9th. Right there. Good. So I like to remember history sometimes for good and bad. In 612 BCE, the king of Assyrian Empire was killed and the capital city of Nineveh was destroyed. And this is the same Assyria that destroyed the northern kingdom and laid siege to Jerusalem. This is also the same Nineveh to which God had sent Jonah. 70 CE, according to sources, this week was the date that on the secular calendar when the second temple was destroyed. In 1391, something that kind of relates to my past, the anti-Semitic rioting came to an end in Barcelona with an untold number of Jews converting at the point of a proverbial sword. There was also that year the massacre of the Jews in Girona, Spain, which is kind of where our families come from. It's a bad day for us tomorrow. Go to the next one. Tomorrow is the 7th anniversary of our son Daniel passing. And there he is with his mother. I can't tell you the ways in which this changed my life in ways I couldn't have possibly understood. And I want to talk about that later. But let's go to the next slide and ask Dr. Tabor to come up. Next slide. There you go. It's the Abrahamic blessing. James, are you there still? Get a squirt gun or bottle. Cats usually respect them. Dr. Tabor, are you still here?
Second.
Yeah, he didn't. He's got to raise his hand. Because this is his idea. James, there he goes. Invite to speak. There we go.
All right.
Dr. Tabor,
This is gonna
very
be
good. You didn't light your candles either.
Yeah, I didn't know what you wanted me to do. I was just here waiting. So.
Okay, yeah, this is your Abrahamic blessing, and that you sent to us, and we put it on a slide so everyone can see it.
Okay,
Yeah,
thank you. Yeah.
Are you reading it?
So let me explain this. As we all know, the traditional prayer, it comes from the Pharisees primarily. I can't be sure what other groups used in the late Second Temple period, but in the Dead Sea Scrolls we have alternative prayers. But as far as I can tell, this is the oldest prayer of blessing of bread and wine and on the planet, at least in Hebrew tradition. And you can read the first 16 verses of Genesis 14. Many of you might know them already. But the context, and I love this, verse 13, just going back a little bit. If you have a Bible, you can flip it open maybe or call it up on your device. There's this battle where a group of kings in the area of Sodom and Gomorrah fight with another group of kings. The names are complicated. If you have a study Bible, it's all laid out who they are. But the upshot is that one group is victorious and takes Lot, remember, he lives in Sodom, and his family captive. And somebody escapes. And remember, Lot is the son of Abraham's brother.
Right.
And somebody escapes. This is verse 13. I'll read it. Then one who had escaped came and told Abraham the Hebrew. The Hebrew. I love that.
Yeah.
So Abraham is the one who crossed over, is one understanding of Hebrew. It's always been my favorite. Scholars come up with other things. He crossed over the Euphrates. He went to a land of promise. Metaphorically, we do that in various ways when we turn to God, when we convert, when we turn our back on Babylon. So you can see all the power of the metaphor. Leaving Babylon behind. I like reggae music for that reason, because half of the songs about we're gonna knock down the walls of the Babylon. And then I love the one about say no. No hamburger, soda pop, naming all the cultural Babylonian food that'll destroy your health. And then it says, our fathers say no. So I love that. David could sing it for us, but we'll go on. So Abraham, the Hebrew, is told, and Ross and I've led a lot of tours, and people, their mouths drop open because we get up to the northernmost border of Dan, and we show the old gate from the time of Abraham. It's actually been uncovered and exposed. It doesn't go anywhere. It goes into a bank of a tell. And and there's a sign, and we tell people, a lot of people don't know this, Abraham stood right here. This is the gate of Dan. This is how you entered ancient Dan. And he took 318 men. Now, remember, he has no children. And yet later we read that Abraham will teach his seed and his family the way of Hashem. Think about that. Such a powerful verse. In doing justice and righteousness. You've got all of religion summarized in a single verse. Also, that it's not just for seed of Abraham. These 318 were circumcised. They become members of the household of faith. I know Christians use that. We need to take it back. The household of faith is every human who turns to the Creator and says, save me, guide me, lead me, use me. you do that, you're in. You're in the household of faith. That's all you need to do.
Love that.
Even Moses said, circumcise your hearts. I think circumcision is a fine sign. This allowed them to marry and be part of the culture and so forth. We don't all need to do that. If you convert to Judaism, the males will undergo even a symbolic version if you're already circumcised. But leaving that aside, then he goes all the way to Damascus. Have you ever thought of Abraham going to Damascus? I mean, think about it. And he defeats these kings. He brings back Lot and all his goods and his women and everything he has. And he gets back to the land. And the battle was initially down in the Dead Sea Valley. And now he goes back to Jerusalem. Why would he go to Jerusalem? He wants to go to the Valley of the King. And some of you have been in the Valley of the King. It's identified in the book of Samuel. And remember when Absalom wants to build a pillar? Now, the one you see today, Absalom's pillar, is a Hashmonean Hellenistic one. But it's remembering the site of Absalom's pillar by later builders. So it's the Valley of Jehoshaphat. Think about this. It is the Valley of Decision, Joel. It's the Mount of Olives, the valley between the Mount of Olives and Mount Moriah. Isn't that amazing? Right between. In our tours, we always walk down it and up it. And when we walk up, believe me, it's a challenge. It's hundreds of feet, many steps. We take our time and we think about these things. Jesus, the last night of his life, walked across that valley to get to the garden at the foot of Gethsemane, and many other things have happened. David walked down that valley, barefooted and weeping, up the Mount of Olives when his son was after him and wanted to kill him. So you got the setting. And who comes out? Melchizedek. Melchizedek comes out. He's king of Salem. Salem is identified as Jerusalem in several places, but particularly, I think it's Psalm 76. I'm trying to remember. Ross would know, but I believe it's Psalm 76, same spelling. Jerusalem. And he is the king of Salem, but notice he's a king priest. Ideal. If you can combine the office of king and priest, that's what the Hashmoneans tried to do, but they didn't have the Davidic pedigree. But if you can combine both, which I believe Mary, the mother of Jesus, I'm publishing a book on Mary. It's now absolutely scheduled. It's in production. And I argue that she's priestly as well as Davidic. So her children would be an example of Davidic people who could qualify to be both a king and a priest. But anyway, this gentleman, it's not a son of David, so you can be a king without being a son of David. King just means ruler, right? Malak, to rule. So ruler and priest. But he's priest of what? El Elyon, my favorite designation for God, by far. I like El Shaddai. I like Elohim. But El Elyon gives me chills because it shuts every mouth. You say, well, what do you think is ultimately behind all of everything? El Elyon, the power most high. So the only question left is, could you talk to the power most high? Could you have a relationship with the power most high? Is it like magnetism, electromagnetic force, the strong and weak nuclear light? Is it that? I don't talk to the light waves. Maybe you do. I don't. My lamp is flickering. I don't go, no, don't do that, because I'm being scientific, I hope. But I do talk to what I think is the force of all forces, because I believe it's closer to me than my very breath. Why? Because in him we live and move and have our being. This all fits into Genesis. Let us make man, humans in our image, and so forth. So there's some powerful stuff. Just to say El Elyon, I could go for an hour on it.
Mhm.
You guys have hooked into some teachers and some understanding of the Tylers, of the Buntons, of Nichols. I put myself in that group of many other of our leaders that have been with us for years. We're not a cult. We're not a religion. We're not a sect. You say, well, you're kind of Jewish, Hebraic.
Mhm.
I prefer Hebraic. If you say Jewish, that's the tribe of Judah. That's one tribe. I'm Hebraic. I'm Abrahamic. So I called it the Abrahamic prayer only because he received it. And we all make the mistake of thinking we're blessing the bread and the wine. We're not blessing the bread and wine doesn't need blessed. When I grew up, I thought like when you bless the bread and wine at the communion, or even bless your food, you're like, in case it's poison or something. I mean, I was just a little kid. I thought, yeah, we bless the food. Oh, that food wasn't blessed yet. Don't eat it. It's like, this is magical thinking. No, nothing happens to the bread and wine when you bless God. So clear in the prayer, right?
That's beautiful.
So let's go to the text. Verse 18, you see it on the slide. We're in the King's Valley. If I think we're looking to the north, maybe we're looking to the south, but I think we're looking to the north. That's Mount Hermon. That's the center of El Elyon's focus in many texts. It's where the transfiguration took place, if you believe in that. Something took place up there on the high mountain. Anyway, think of that. We're looking north. On my right is the Mount of Olives, where I believe later Jesus died and many other people were crucified. Thousands, 500 a day during the Roman siege, 500 a day. There are tombs all over the place now. I look to the left, I see Mount Moriah and where the temple will eventually be. As you know, they found this little temple down in the valley, right where this happened, right below the Gihon. And it's where Solomon was anointed and where all the kings were anointed. And you can walk down there. It used to be a little dangerous. It's okay now. There's a sidewalk and a path. You can go on down. The temple isn't open, but they call it the Melchizedek temple because it dates to this period. It seems to be some sort of little worship space. How do you identify a temple? It has no practical use. There's not water coming in. There's not a table. Well, actually, there is a table. But what I mean is, it's not people living there, sleeping there, doing their work. So picture this. And so Abraham comes. We'll keep reading. And Melchizedek, king of Salem, brought out bread and wine. Imagine. He was priest of El Elyon. God Most High is a good translation. And he blessed him. Now, the pronouns are unclear, but Ross and I have talked about this a lot because we had a teacher indirectly, Moses Gabori, who we never studied with him, but we read his work. And he argued that Abraham's blessing Melchizedek. But it doesn't make sense. So, I mean, you can play with the Hebrew and try to make it sense, but I'm going to say this is the priest of the Most High God blessing Abraham. So not the bread and wine. He blesses Abraham by God Most High, maker of heaven and earth. And he blessed be God Most High. Blessed is bow the knee before and honor and exalt and hold up, who's delivered your enemies into your hand. And Abraham gave him a tenth of everything. And here we have tithing, not as a Levitical command, nothing about that, but the same tithing Jacob does later after his dream. It's the tithing many of us practice. It's not a law, it's not a tax, it's not, oh, you didn't pay your tithe yet, so you're going to get cursed. It's just what many of us do. It's a beautiful thing. We're taxed over 50%, some of us that have state taxes. So yeah, you got to figure all that in. or you could fall into poverty if you took, made foolish mistakes. But the idea of sharing, and he gave him a tenth. The preachers love this, but what's he going to do with that money? I guess it's going to allow him to devote himself to his priestly teaching and duties. What does a priest do? A real priest, read Malachi. A priest is a teacher. Ross is a priest. You follow? That's what he is. A Kohen means somebody who's prepared. Prepared for what? To teach. Okay. So it's not a later organized type thing at this time. He's the priest of the Most High God. Now, the prayer then I'm going to modify. You see it at the bottom. If you can't read Hebrew, I'll say it in Hebrew. It's real easy to learn. So I put the text here, but I'm going to modify it into our prayer that we use, many of us. And notice he brings forth bread and wine. So I like to start with the bread. It's also the order of the Psalms. He gives us bread to strengthen our hearts, Psalm 104, and wine to gladden us. I know it's reversed by the Pharisees. Fine, I don't care what order you do it in. That doesn't matter to me. But I personally like the idea of this Abrahamic thing. And I said this to Simcha Jacobovici the other night at the Sabbath table, and he said, James, this is what we do by our tradition. It's kept us alive. It's the fence around the Torah, but teach us your prayer. Isn't that wonderful? Teach us your prayer. I said, well, it's not my prayer. It's Melchizedek's prayer. He said, that's fantastic. I love it. Everybody was inspired at the table. Now, they're still going to do the halakha, and they should, because this is what has preserved. David talked about 1492. Did you know that the Marranos in Mexico and down in San Antonio, where I'm from, wonderful tales of how they still bring out a candle, and they go, my grandfather always brought out a candle. He had a little hat, and on Friday he would say this. And then we would go to Mass on Sunday, and he would say, never forget this. You should do it. It honors the Creator. Millions of people did this in the New World because they were expelled, and they were forced to convert. It's wonderful. So here's what we developed, Ross and I developed. Baruch atah, everybody, you all know that. El Elyon. Don't you love it? Baruch atah El Elyon. And then you say, you see the Hebrew, Konei Shamayim Va'aretz. So I know you can do Shamayim, the heavens, Ha'aretz. It's so easy. So all you got to remember is Konei, because I think you already know all these words. Baruch atah El Elyon Konei Shamayim Va'aretz. And then you add whatever you're blessing God for.
That's wonderful.
So, Ha-motze lechem min ha'eretz, who brings forth bread from the earth. Ha-bori peri ha'agafen, who brings wine for us. I use it all the time if I see something. I get, how the rabbis, if you see a beautiful bird fly, there's a prayer. If you eat a bite of fruit. I don't carry it to that extent, but many times, here's what I often say to them if I'm just walking around. Baruch atah El Elyon Konei Shamayim Va'aretz. Me, and I don't have to even say for what. In other words, I'm expressing the wonder of what it is. So we have bread and wine, and I'm going to do it with my family downstairs in a minute. But if you like the Abrahamic prayer, give it a try. It gives me shivers. I think it's that El Elyon thing that just knocks me out. Now, I like Hashem, I like Yahweh or Yehovah, I like that. It basically is the ever-living one, will is, was. It's a different aspect of God, and it's good. I mean, we need that aspect of God. Always was, is, always will be, the eternal one, the nameless one. But God is nameless. People, you got to know the name. There is no name for God. So, yes, there is. It says, this is my name. You don't understand what name is. It doesn't mean you mouth a word.
Just, what do you want to?
It's a concept. So when Moses first asked the name, he wasn't given a name, he was given a concept. And then he wanted a name, right? He wanted, like, well, could you shorten that for me? I will be what I will be, imperfect. Oh, that's your name? What's your name? I will be what I will be. Oh, that's your name. Okay. Okay, you need my name. I'll break it down. I will be, I am, I always was. You got it? I will be what I will be, always. I go, oh, it's Yehovah. Now I got it. Now I can worship the true God. This is not magic, folks. All of you guys know this. I'm talking to very mature spiritual people, but I want you to be happy about it too. And some of you might not have heard it. So it's not a magic word, but I love El Elyon. You say, well, that's not a name, that's a description. Well, sorry, we should have told the priest of the Most High God, that he made a mistake here. So I love this. So here we go. Let's do the bread first. You still got some bread, David? And we'll say it together. David and Patty and I can say it. Baruch atah El Elyon koneh shamayim va'aretz hamotze lechem min haaretz. Amen.
Amen.
Blessed be God Most High. It's translated creator, koneh. Koneh, if I buy a car today, I use kana. Koneh means to get.
Mm-hmm.
Possessor is a good translation but creator is good too. It's just not that word in Hebrew. It's not the word creator. But it's okay. What it means is, it's Job's question. Where were you when I laid the foundation of the world? David, Tyler, where were you? Tell me all about it. You know physics. Where were you? And Dave's like, oh, man, well, I wasn't here.
I gave a paper.
Here. Well, you've learned a little bit, right? A teeny little thimbleful, but you're going to run the universe now, right?
Right.
So, Koneh Shemayim Ba'aretz. Koneh. The one who runs it all. Put it in modern terms. The chief operating officer who uses persuasion to pull us toward the presence. Okay, so I like Koneh. So so now we'll do the wine. Baruch atah El Elyon koneh shamayim va'aretz habori peri hagafen, who brings forth fruit from the vine to gladden your heart.
Yes.
So
Patty's real happy.
I'm very
enjoy
glad.
and read Psalm 104, and you'll get the whole feeling of creation. Read Psalm 90, which is Moses'
Shabbat.
It's a prayer of the Sabbath, written, at least it's attributed to Moses. So, pretty powerful stuff, huh?
Yes. Can you put us back
So
on?
somebody said, where did communion come from? Read my book, Jesus and Paul, and it covers that. There's a whole chapter on it.
Patty's going to say something.
Paul and Jesus. So that's my lesson for today. I hope you enjoy it. And you can use this all the time, when you rise up and when you sit down and when you walk along the way.
All right.
I just wanted to say that was absolutely wonderful, and I would like to put that little verse to music, and maybe we'll do that.
Oh, that would be wonderful, Patty. That would be wonderful. You're giving me chills right now.
I know. And I was just
Patty's
wondering.
voice can break a glass across the room, so be careful if you're drinking out of some fine crystal, because it's very dangerous. If you don't,
Well, no,
I'm not actually kidding. It approaches a Joan Baez level if she's really ramped up. So,
does anybody have any questions for Dr. Tabor? Because this was it was very short, but it was very deep, and I just think it was like powerful, the Aliyah and everything. And if you have any questions, please step up. We want to hear what you think about this. This is a definite add to our Sabbath celebration, I think. Thank you, Dr. Tabor.
Jono said he's not having wine for breakfast. Well, Jono, just smell it then. When Patty and I abstained from wine, which I am now not drinking wine for a while, for various health reasons, and
Yeah.
just exercising, losing weight, getting ready for a very rigorous tour that I'm leading. So I just decided not to drink wine for a while, but I just kind of sniff it on Shabbat because Lori and my family still drinks it. So sniff it, Jonah. Get you some wine and sniff it.
How about some beer, Jono? That's more your speed.
Well, now he was
Yeah,
like,
I don't believe he doesn't drink in the morning, but he has to put up a
There's some.
defense.
well, thank
Okay,
you.
everybody. Thanks a lot. And
Thank you.
David, is this recorded on YouTube?
Yes.
Oh, good, because I want to hear your the rest of it, but I'm going to go back down. They're all waiting downstairs.
James, say hello to Lori and
And your
Eve
family. Yeah.
and Seth and her mother.
Yeah, since I came back from Israel, they all come over now on Friday, so it's kind of nice. Usually they're busy.
Yeah,
So we got the dogs and everything. And
dogs. All right.
okay.
Well, thank you for coming,
Thank you
James.
so
I loved it, and thank you for inviting me, and Shabbat Shalom to everybody. And oh, by the way, Tish B'Av is our 13th anniversary, Lori and I, 41st. And Simco wrote me today. This is the filmmaker, Simco Jacobovici. It's actually Jacobovich, but he said I can say Jacobovici because that's how it sounds. I want people to be able to spell it. And that's the original pronunciation. But he does think, as many have suggested, that Iran's attack could well be on Tish B'Av. My own sense, and this is a new thought that some are expressing to me today, is that Iran might save face by saying, okay, we will not attack if you sign the peace with Gaza. And that way they can say, like, well, Israel, didn't, like, they can justify it more than not just retaliation, but we offered you a way to have peace, but you Jews don't want peace. Therefore, so these two possibilities are not contradictory.
Right.
It's the idea of, rather than a sneak attack, they might not do Tish B'Av. They might put forth their little fake plan about, look, the main thing we care about in the Middle East are the Palestinians in the West Bank. They need their state. Gaza needs their state. And then we won't attack you. As if you're going to reject that, of course, and therefore we attack you because you don't want peace. So we'll see what happens.
It's a lose-lose.
I mean, I know your minds are on it night and day, as mine are. It's all I think about.
I'm not going to talk about what I know, but I can tell you this. Iran doesn't want to start a war with Israel because their nuclear power is not up to speed yet, and it will set them back 20 years. So they're not.
Well, some people are saying Stone Age militarily. Because you think Israel and the U.S. with the ships don't know every military depot, warehouse, manufacturing plant, and they're already the coordinates ready to hit the button. I mean, it will be devastating. And of course they know that, but they have to save face, see? And they could even back down by saying, well,
Just stop.
we offered you the peace thing. So I'll go because you guys have a lot to cover. Okay. As we say, God bless you, so I'll say, El Elyon be with us all.
He just isn't listening. What?
Well, never mind that.
Go ahead.
No, some people wanted to say thank you to James.
Oh, some people wanted to say thank you, James.
Okay.
Okay. Well, that was a lot of more than I thought it was going to be. And I'm
that was very, very,
very grateful. He
beautiful.
didn't bring up the fact that, and correct me if I'm wrong, Ross, that Restoring Abrahamic Faith is coming out October 4th or something like that. He's got a date for the publish of Restoring Abrahamic Faith, the revised version. Anyways, just to let you know. So before we went on, I kind of wanted to tell you about, my day or my week. just because it kind of was above my pay grade. You ever work with people at above your pay grade?
But don't you feel that sometimes God puts us in these situations that we're learning and being tested and everything and trained all at the same time?
Yeah.
It's not, you can't wait until you feel you're perfect. You're put in these situations.
Yeah.
But go ahead, honey.
So last week I met Igor Yablokov on a Zoom call. I was introduced by one of the Maxwells. So long story short, I was invited to go to a very important meeting on Tuesday. So I got myself to Washington, and Igor just don't understand. Came up with the idea of Watson at IBM. Then he came up with the idea of Siri, and then he came up with the idea of Alexa. And he's a very wealthy man because of that. By the way, Alexa is the name of his older sister. No one knows that. If you're in some sort of what's that called? A game of questions. So, anyways, he brings me into this place, and there is Ronald Moultrie, who is the Undersecretary of Defense for Intelligence and Security, and a lot of industry leaders from NVIDIA and people way above what I am. And we discussed the future use of AI in DoD Intel world. What rules should we be followed? What morals? What, and I didn't realize. I mean, I realized that within minutes, I'm helping craft input for the way we're going to do planning for future conflicts. And I don't know how I got there. I'm just some kid who was a shoveling dairy farm, shoveling gutters over at the Eddy farm, and worked at New York Telephone, sweeping the floor and cleaning up. Mopping the floor. That's how I started. So it was kind of odd that I got there. So then we spoke for about an hour privately, and then Igor invited me to the Ritz-Carlton the next day for an hour talk, which went into an hour and a half. We talked about policy information points, or PIPs, and got into a big discussion when I talked about my moral structure and my understanding and things I've worked on, what is known as, the knowledge, the understanding structure of humans, which go from data to collections of data called information. Analyzing information becomes knowledge, but at the very top is wisdom. And that is really, it's trivia. That's correct. I'm sorry, Julia B. Trivia contest. And so that's kind of a model, a way of looking at human understanding. And we discussed this. And after an hour and a half, we were really intensely talking. And then he got a call from Elon Musk. Said, David, I have to take this. I said, no problem. Then he texted me afterwards and said, sorry, he had to cut it short. So I've been working constantly on these AI concepts because I know the way mission planning is done, and operation and execution, and after action reviews, because that's what I do. So I know a lot. I also got to meet some people at night that are very involved in the planning and State Department and Defense Department. And we discussed Israel in detail off the record. So I think the Iranians know the Americans mean business. And I know a lot more that I want to talk about, but it's exciting that to be in touching that part of the stream, which is way above my pay grade. So that's kind of is my week. I'm exhausted, but I pined for Shabbat. And, Dr. Tabor threw in what he wanted to talk about. And I think it's a great way to, again, strip it off of what we're looking at. I definitely also really can't wait to hear Ross's talk on the words of Moses tomorrow. I want to bring that up. It's been some really interesting discussions. And so for me, I'm excited. And, certainly we would like to know what you, all of you, what is there anything about your week that you'd like to talk
Yeah, we
about?
want to hear from you. How was your week?
We heard last week about a pet dying, and those are just as important.
Those are important things.
As anything else that happens. It's our home, and we like to talk about what we did.
Yeah,
but we'd love to hear about what you all have done and what you're up to. What are you studying? And I know there's a lot of smart people out there. I can tell. Miriam, Jono, Marianne, Clody, Nikita, Julia, Eric. I mean, please feel free to talk about what y'all doing.
I know we have our YouTube people over here: Barbara Lamar, Charles Sutton,
there's
Sherry Brumgard, Susan R.
So many great people.
Lynn Lawrence.
And I know Ross doesn't want to talk because he talks in.
Derek.
Yeah, and it looks like David from
North.
David is from Israel. On is that you, David? Our friend from Tamar. You still there? See his name.
Okay. Well, hi everyone.
And
we're love to hear from you guys. Now.
Another thing, Clody says to Jono is Wednesday. I think they turned it into Thursday, but tell me if I'm wrong, Ross. Libby is there.
We have a Dolores here too.
Yeah, Libby. We're harvesting elderberries and apples, and we got a new fur baby. I wonder if a new fur baby, is that a cat or is that a dog?
Well, congratulations.
And Jono's going to speak. Here he is, Jono, from a land down under.
Yeah. Hey guys, you can hear me?
Jono. Yes.
Hey man, I wanted to check in. I just wanted to say good day to you guys and everyone who's listening. Thanks, Clody, for that. We're going. Ross and I were talking yesterday about when we're coming back on. We have some really cool ideas. Actually, Ross had a really good idea, and I think it was Seth's idea of a new series that we're thinking about. We're going to be making some notes on that this week. So we have stuff cooking, and I'm looking forward to it. And it has, of course, it has something to do with the Moses Scroll, but we're returning to the Torah, the 5 books as well. And I don't want to give too much away, but we have something cooking. So that's
great.
That's the point. And we're about to go for a drive in the countryside now. It's a beautiful sunny morning here on Shabbat.
Any news about any new trips to Israel planned?
Oh man, we really, I feel it. Looking at photos yesterday, actually, just really missing it because it's been too long. But unfortunately, due to the current climate, we had to postpone the Tanakh tour. We had tentative dates for February, March, but now we're pushing it back to November because, of course, security and safety is our highest priority. And so November 2025, and we'll certainly keep people informed as that develops too. But we're hoping that that's going to become a possibility. And I am really looking forward to getting back there. And I know you guys were there recently, and I'm so jealous. And of course, James only just got back.
Yeah, but, we're going to be putting out a video. It's just we've been overwhelmed about the destruction in southern Israel. So we had the privilege of being driven around by armed Israelis, a colonel as an officer, and an attack dog, a Malinois, and it gave us a good view of what's going on.
What happened?
Anyways, we'll show that in the video. And the other issue is, a lot of things are going on in our lives with supporting Israel and getting them certain drones and stuff like that. So we're raising money because they just don't have the money to buy all these things they need, and they're very, very concerned about Hezbollah, and so we saw that,
and rightly so.
And now we have some really good friends, and someday, if it turns out that we want to try to make our citizenship, we have some very powerful people, generals that are going to support us, and people like Elon, of course, and Simca, but having people in the military saying, "Oh no, these guys are kosher because of what we've done," is really exciting for me. And I don't know if that's going to happen. As I think you, and I don't want to bring up any negativity, but 1 week or so after we lost our child, Jonah lost his son. Both lost our oldest sons, Jonah. And, I can't think of Daniel without thinking of Jonah. And of course, your son, William. William is such a great kid. And so at the end of the day, I have, it's also the time when the temple was destroyed. It's kind of just bizarre that this happened all at the same time. And I just can't. I mean, then all of a sudden we ended up in Israel with a Christian man who lost his son to drugs, and we were at Tamar.
Yeah, that was strange.
I think that was divine providence. I don't care. I don't think it was just a random thing.
No.
And so
I still keep in touch with him, by the way. He and I chat from time to time, and we do keep in touch.
Oh, good.
It is good because it's a dark few weeks for us, and I'm grateful for distractions and positive and productive distractions. And so working with Ross on this new project, working in the Moses Scroll, for me, the past week and every week actually is getting to the theological library that I have, 15 minutes away from my house, and being able to work there and research and dissect. And I've just been applying myself more academically now, and it's really got me focused. And I really do. I'm so grateful for these, like I said, positive, productive distractions, particularly at this time of year. And I know that you understand what I'm saying. Yeah. Yeah.
Unfortunately. I don't want to make people come down, but I don't want to forget my son, and I will never forget him. I think of him every day in a most positive way. His understanding of humor was kind of bizarre. He was a phenomenal drummer. He was a great welder and a machinist. And, we have his car. So it's kind of weird every time I see the car, but my point is, it's positive things.
Another cleaned out Danny's things. He had, for some reason, in his possession, one of the earliest spiral bound copies of Restoring the Abrahamic Faith.
Right.
Really?
Yeah.
Yes, it was
spiral bound. It was like 20 pages back then or something.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah. 40 pages maybe.
Really? Yeah.
How did he get that? He must have been interested. We must have told him about it. And that was so wonderful.
Yeah, it was. I mean, we never forced our children to do this stuff about reading the Bible. We lived the life and showed them, and we gave them instructions, and, they ate according to the Bible, and they never celebrated a Christmas. We've been off of the Christian thing that long that, we've been married for 43 years, and Patty and I never celebrated Christmas together. Which me starting off life as a Catholic, that's kind of unusual. My last Christmas was when I was 17. And by the time I was 18, I no longer celebrated Christmas. But it's all, everyone has their path. A lot of people, like, I think in the Worldwide Church of God, they never celebrated Christmas, period. I don't believe. Some of these other groups, they didn't celebrate these holy days that the major Christians celebrate. And again, I don't put them down. It's their faith, and it is what it is. I like to focus on the Shabbat, and that's the biggest holy day to me. And then the other 7, of course. But at the end of the day, just trying to live according to the 10. And how's your family, and how's William?
We were supposed to go to our last week was my niece's wedding, and or the previous week, and he and I were to fly to Sydney and go to this wedding, and then he came down with food poisoning, and so he wasn't able to come with me. So I'm overdue to catch up with him, but he's doing all right. He's doing okay, but he's fine now anyway. So
good.
Everything is good.
How far is it to Sydney from your place?
to drive is probably about 10 hours. To fly is just an hour and a half. and it's a quick and easy trek as well. So to fly. So, caught up with the folks, did all of that. And So
and is it reasonable to fly or is it expensive?
no, it's fine. It's really not that bad. And I enjoy getting back to Sydney because I've always loved through my whole life. I love taking the train across the harbour bridge, looking at the harbour, the ferries, the opera house, everything. Sydney is a beautiful, beautiful city. And I grew up there and I just love it every single time without fail. I love taking the train. It's just a great trip and I'm so familiar with it. Now I'm down in Geelong and I love Geelong, and then we're about to go for a drive into the country and it's only 10 minutes and you're out of the city and into beautiful fields and countryside and everything. And it's a beautiful sunny day. But yeah, I do miss Sydney. But it was good to get back there. Yeah.
Yeah. And Ross says it's on his bucket list. Shapiro studies Jono, Matthew Hamilton, and now Edon Dershowitz. He lives in Australia now.
He's in Melbourne now. He's only a hop, skip, and a jump from where I am. It's about just over an hour's drive. And he and I exchanged emails a couple of weeks ago before I headed back to Sydney.
Oh, he's no longer in Germany. He's not teaching in Germany.
I think he is teaching, at Monash University now. Ross may know. Okay. But I'm looking forward to, at some stage, going and maybe grabbing some lunch with him because I obviously have a lot of questions. I'd love to know what he thinks on certain things. So it's great that we're so close. So I'm going to try and touch base sometime soon because he seems like Ross knows him better than I, but this is the first time I've really even exchanged emails with him. But it's only a short drive. So,
well, that's amazing. So he changed schools. Wow. Because and I wonder if he still has family in Boston because that's where I sent the Shapiro lamp that we made.
Really? Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I think Ross would know better than I, but I think his wife is Australian.
Yeah. Ross says yes, he does still have a place in Boston. So it's kind of hard to leave, but that's great. Well, I look forward to hearing what you and Ross are up to, and I got my first. It was really a shocker to me, when it happens. I walked into a hotel in Italy, and I was logging in, and they asked for my ID. And they said, "Oh, you're a senior citizen. You get a 10% discount." And I'm like to the lady, did you just call me a senior citizen?" and I'm like,
get used to it, Dave.
Oh my God. I've avoided AARP and all that other stuff. So, all right, Jonah, we got Nikita wanting to speak. So,
all right, you guys, Shabbat Shalom. I'll see you later. See you next week.
All right. Safe drives.
Cheers, mate. Thank you.
And I'm getting Nikita up here, hopefully. There she is. Hey, Nikita. You there? I see you up in the You're on the speaker stage. Nikita? Let me see. You speaking, Nikita? I think we had that trap. She's going to reboot. Darn. All right. Does someone else? I mean, come on. Betty, you have nothing to say? Come on. And Ronnie, we did the wine and the bread blessings today. And Sue Wyatt wants to speak. All right, Sue. Come on up, Sue. Sue.
Here I am. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, very good. I just wanted to praise Hashem because I mentioned earlier I was in the hospital with a blood clot. Well, I walked around with that. It's a big clot. It goes from my knee to 2/3 down my shin. And I walked around with that thing for several days in tremendous pain. I thought I just pulled a muscle.
Oh, my God.
And here that thing could have broken off and gone to my heart or my brain at any time. Yeah, exactly. And so I just want to praise Hashem that He protected me. He provided tremendous care for me. And
Right.
I was home safe and sound in 2.5, 3 days. So he is so good and so gracious.
So what made you get so smart? You just went to the doctor and said, "Hey, what's happening?"
No, it was my precious son. He's always the one who says, "Okay, Mom, we're going to the doctor now." Because I'm one of those people where I avoid doctors like the plague. So
Yeah.
he made me go, and the doctor thought I had a kidney infection. It
Oh.
turns out the clot was not presenting the way they normally do. So
Ah.
they didn't even realize I had a clot until they did a CT scan.
Wow.
Yeah, it was kind of wild and crazy, but God was there, Hashem was
Wow.
there, and took care of me.
I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you're here.
Me too.
It's so nice to see you and all of your great thoughts that you have. And, we're all in this journey, and some are going to get to the end faster than others. Now that I'm a senior citizen, and I'm going to be there sooner than hopefully you all are. But I've been officially designated as one. So no,
Oh, you're still a baby in my eyes.
yeah, well, a senior baby.
Yeah.
The thing is, as I was saying about my son's, anniversary of his death was tomorrow. Here's the deal. I had the privilege of living to 65, and that's a privilege. And I think people forget, he lived to 34. Okay. And that's why I have such a strong faith, in, I'm a pro-life person because, like Ronald Reagan said, and I don't want to get into politics, but he said a good one. He said the people who are for abortion are the people that have already been born.
Oh, wow.
I love them.
I hadn't heard that before. That's great.
Yeah. But anyways, once you hold a life, it changes you. But all right,
really
I'm going to let
does.
Ronnie get up here. Thank you for coming up. So,
Love you guys. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom. Ronnie's coming up now. And there's Ralph Bunton's here. A lot of people are here. There he is, Ronnie Fulcher.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, you got your hat on today, Ronnie. How are you?
Oh, yeah, that's just my picture. I don't have my hat on right now.
Yeah. It's
No, I just want to share something that's kind of unique this week in talking with several people. It seems like in the group, a lot of people have been reaching out to each other and touching them, when they needed to be talked to or, something coming up. And it was just really, I just loved it because everybody was doing these things. It's like, I don't know why I did it. I just felt like I needed to do this or do that.
Yeah.
And, I know what it was,
Yeah. Well, as Nikita called us, the congregation of the Most High, I don't think we're the only ones. Please, I'm not like that, but I think we're part of it. And we care deeply for the Almighty and to study what did He try to tell us. I don't want all the other religious stuff thrown in. I just wanna know what the Almighty had to say to Moses and to His prophets, and how do I live my life? That's all I care about. I don't care about what Ross thinks about it or Dr. Tabor or anyone else. I care what God thinks about what I should be doing, and that's.
Well, we care a little bit about what.
No, but I mean, no, we learn. But Ross is no, he's no leader, and James is no leader. We're all equal here. Ross is a great teacher, absolutely. But I'm just saying that we're all equal here. And anybody that's in here talking has the right to talk. And you can look in Discord. There's some strange conversations that go on that I can't get into, but
But there's one leader, like a cult has a culture.
Right.
Yeah, I think we're all,
Right. Clody says our covenant with God. Ross is upset now. He said,
No.
what? I think that in the end it's you and the Almighty.
Leaders.
No, but in the end it's you and the Almighty.
Right.
And you can't pawn it off and say, well, Ross Nichols told me this. Well, I'm not talking to Ross Nichols. We ain't talking about Ross Nichols. We're talking about you, David Tyler or Patty Tyler or Ronnie Fulcher. And I think that there's a responsibility that we all must have to step up to this And, there's that old saying, to whom much is given, much is required. Oh, you want to know all this stuff? Well, then you're held to a higher standard,
Well, saying that, and I think it's a business saying, but it says leaders don't try to create followers, they try to create more leaders.
Right.
And so I think it's an exponential thing.
Yeah.
I think that we're all doing here.
Yeah. And there's so many great people that come and talk about these things, and people are writing books. And remember, James Tabor told us, hey, man, write a book, or if not, write down your experience.
Write a journal, do something.
Do something. And there's people on here that I've spoken to and come up and talk. Ralph has written a book, the Book of David, which Igor now has. So the guy that developed Alexa has your Book of David, Ralph. I try to give one and throw one to everybody I meet.
We're working on a map.
We're going to have a map.
Where the book has traveled.
Yeah. And it's been in my suitcase all the way to, Ukraine, to Bulgaria, Israel. Unfortunately, Clody, we flew over Albania, and then we landed in Italy. But anyways, Betty wrote her book. Yes. James wrote his book. Ross wrote his book.
Is Betty on?
Betty's there, and Nikita's back. She wants to talk. Yeah, and so at the end of the day, I think it's good that we touch each other, and I think of you often, Ronnie. Just to let you know, everyone on this thing here, when my son died, Ronnie drove from Mississippi to upstate New York.
Here, it was such an honor to have you, Ronnie.
And I was in such a stupor, I shell shocked that I
barely remember the whole.
I remember parts of it, but it's when something that tragic happens, you just
shut down in a way.
You're in a state of shock, and I don't want to tell you, what I told that doctor when he called me, but it wasn't very nice. Anyways, Ronnie, thank you so much, and we love you, brother.
Do you have anything else to say, Ronnie?
Well, just one thing, Patty, you had said, I'd rather have people develop into leaders than managers, because we can make managers, but leaders have an inherent ability to draw and lead people.
Right.
It's just a difference about them, But the other thing is, it just amazed me the number of people this week that were tuning in to, let's say, the spirit, the energy of other people, whatever, to ascertain, hey, this one needed help or needed a word of encouragement or whatever. And just within this family, it was happening. And I I love it. I love it.
It's good. And all I can say is it's been an honor to know you and to listen to you. And, every time we get together, it's always a wonderful thing. And, we all got to get down to Jackson and when Ross is ready, and maybe Ross won't be ready. He was saying, hey, maybe Ross said, maybe I'll show you where I'm at, and I have no problem with that. We were going to get some work done in our house today, but then the tornado, the threats came.
Here.
And but Patty was worried about what our cellar looked like for these people coming over to do work. And I'm like, man, it's not where my mind's at. I'm sorry. Anyways, Ronnie, I'm going to let Nikita up here. And Shabbat shalom, brother.
Thanks.
Shabbat shalom. Bye-bye.
Shabbat shalom.
We're going to try to get Nikita up here. Hey, Nikita.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, yay, we can.
Shabbat shalom and greetings to the congregation of Ha El Elyon. Ross, let me know if my Hebrew was correct.
You've been listening tonight. Shabbat shalom. It is so nice to hear your voice, Nikita.
It's wonderful to be heard. It's wonderful to be heard. And people of the Most High, please, please, please be encouraged. Yeah. Please be encouraged. No matter what happens around us, we know who we belong to.
Right.
I've had a blessed week, and I hope everyone else has also.
Yeah.
I want to just share a little story with you right quick, and I'll get out of the way.
Sure. No, please. Take your time.
I got a call from a person who I like to, I don't know how should I describe him. But when he calls me, he never calls me when anything is going good in his life. It's funny that way.
We have those friends.
Yeah, nothing's ever going good when he calls me. And by being kind of on the late side, when I saw his name, I was like, I got to get this because I know it's got to be something for him to call, right? So he was kind of down in the dumps. And I said, look, let me stop you right there before you go any further. I want you to do something for me. And he's just like, anything, I'll do anything for you. I said, when you wake up in the morning, if it's the Lord's will that you wake up in the morning, I want you to make 2 lists.
Mm-hmm.
I said, one list, one side, I want you to put everything that the Most High has given you.
Mm.
Okay, now when you finish that list, I want you to finish it completely. In the next list, I want you to put down everything that the Most High owed you.
Mm.
Okay? He said, what do you mean owes me? I said, exactly that. What did he owe you? So he gave you all of these things, but out of everything that he gave you, what did he owe you?
Mm.
So if you only had your mother for 27 years, did he owe you her? No, he didn't.
No.
Or longer.
So he gave her to you for 27 years.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that is the blessing.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I have got to help you focus your attention on all that you have been given.
Yes.
Because he owed us nothing. He gave us life. He didn't even owe us that. Let's start there.
No. Absolutely.
So when you wake up, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Amen. Amen. I was I said a prayer this week when I was away about that very thing. You know, I was thinking of all the blessings, and then I'm like, you know, Almighty One, you created me, and here I am, you know, and not stepping in high cotton, and I just thank you for creating me, for creating me. It's just
the gift of life.
The gift of life. It's such a powerful thing.
And
you weren't, and now you are.
And with his energy and just a thought brought you into existence.
Right.
And now we have life.
That's the Most High right there. You can't get that any other way. We can't make people. We think we do, but we can't. And the soul, especially that the Almighty puts into our bodies, that's special. Anyways, that's my belief.
Yes, and he was having an issue because he had lost the use of his arm, and and I asked him, I said, you lost the use of your arm for good? No, it's temporary, but I can't play golf. I said, well, play checkers, play chess, play Uno. You can play anything else. I mean, hopscotch, do something. I said, you crying because you can't play golf, and you're not good at it anyway, number one. And number two, you're not getting paid to do it.
Yes. Oh,
okay,
that's
Nikita from one of our YouTube participants, Charles Sutton says, life is good. Nikita, wisdom, dropping the mic.
Yeah.
So I just want you to know that our friends on YouTube are appreciating what you're saying here too.
Yes, so much.
Well, thank you all. The Most High has been so gracious to me, and these lessons were hard learned. And Sir Charles, I hope you feel better. I did see where you hadn't been feeling well, and I just want to let you know from my heart to yours, sir. I hope you heal well.
Oh, me too. Amen.
And we had Sue go through this horrible thing this week. And
yes, Sister Sue also, yes.
Yeah. When we end with a prayer.
So we have a little boy. I'm just going to call him Paul Jr. He lives in Indiana, near Bloomington, Indiana, and just a spark of a young child, just beyond his years. And he wasn't feeling well, and his dad took him to the hospital, and he's got a tumor in his brain. And he's 9 years old, and his dad wrote to me and said, "What kind of prayer should I say?" And I just said, like Moses said, to the Most High,
heal her,
when his wife was ill. And I just can't. I'm just with him, and I said, any time of day or night you can text me. I mean, because we're not near each other, and I want you to know that, we're here with you. And there's so many people in need of prayer and help. We had a tornado go through our town, and there's a lot of folks that are struggling because, it doesn't pay for everything, the insurance, you know, and especially people who have just rented their apartment and, you know, they have nowhere else to go, and they're not going to get paid much money. The people that own the apartments are. And so we're trying to help the best we can. And wherever people are that are that way. And I think of another thing, Nikita, is when folks are searching and they don't find the way to the Most High, you know, easily. You know, I pray for those people that are trying to find the truth as we know it, and, you know, the commandments and the Torah of the Almighty and the revelation to Moses and you know, the commandments, and that way to find yourself, you know, Eric put up that Imuna in 60 seconds, Emunah in 60 seconds. I like that idea that it's not a complex thing, but to get that mindset to be able to see that's a complex thing.
It's like you have to remove what is complex,
Right,
to get to the simple truth.
right. And that's the
And
thing.
you know, a lot of people have trouble with that. They want these complex traditions and
Yeah.
dogmas and things like that.
Yeah. My dad called it dogmas, doctrines.
The DDTs.
Yeah.
Dogma, doctrine, tradition.
Yeah, dogmas, doctors, and tradition. Betty, his name is Paul. Just call him Paul Jr.
Thank you, Betty.
He's just like his dad, but he's just sharper than a freaking razor blade. The kid is so brilliant, and we've known him growing up all these years. And you know, glioblastoma is very serious, usually not recoverable, to be quite honest. And so that's why we were asking for prayers. And you know, I on the other hand, I don't want to just keep praying to God all the time. When I speak to God, in my view, and you might have a very different view, I speak to God, it's business. I mean business. You know, I mean to talk to Him. And like when I had my kind of prayer, I was getting ready to go to a very big meeting, and then I stopped everything, and I cleared my mind, and I said, Almighty One, Most High, I'm grateful that you made me. I mean, that's it right there. I'm grateful that you made me. And I'm grateful for all the other gifts, but I'm grateful that you made me, that I had a thought, that I existed. And, you know, I know we're only here for a spark of time in the history of the universe. I get that. But we should make the most out of it, be thankful to the Creator, and do what He has asked us to do to the best of our ability. And I think that's as Solomon said, that's the sum of it all, you know?
Well, there's a saying that says if the only prayer you said was thank you, that would be enough.
Yeah.
And I totally agree with that. But if you started there, that's
Right.
a good place.
Well, it is. And obviously a lot of us have gotten to that place. All right, Nikita.
Thank you, Nikita.
We're going to get Miriam up. Shabbat Shalom, Nikita.
Shabbat shalom, dears.
Love her. And we're getting Miriam up, hopefully. We clicked on Miriam. Let me see if she's coming. I see you got up there. She's still got the mute on her microphone. I know you got to find that somewhere, Miriam.
Seems like they always move that mute button,
Yeah.
don't they? I don't think
Yeah.
they do, but it seems like they do.
Yeah. Yeah. Eric says many times all I say is thank you, Jehovah. Are you there, Miriam? I see you got your microphone working now. Yeah.
She's blinking.
Ronnie Fulcher said clearing of the mind is an awesome beginning to prayer. Hey, I heard something there, Miriam.
Oh, that's very
It's chopping up a little, Miriam. Miriam, are you on a phone or are you on a computer? I just wondered. Ross is saying maybe go out and come back. Miriam, because we hear little rumblings, but we can't hear any words. Shoot. I'm so sorry, Miriam.
Miriam, go try again and maybe get to a place where you can get a better connection.
Yeah.
It seems kind of like you have a bad connection.
Yeah, she's gone out for a minute.
Okay.
Marianne said, my prayer is that he makes me the person he created me to be. Well, that's a really good view right there.
Absolutely.
It's a beautiful thing. Ross also said, don't forget that in the dialogue, you can post a prayer request.
Yes. And if you all, before our next meeting, if you have any prayers or prayer requests you'd like to, have us do, just write them down and tell us.
Yeah. That's a beautiful thing. While we're waiting for Miriam to come back, I do want to remind everyone, and I know I'm preaching to the choir here, but that Ross's The Words of Moses will be on 10:30 Central and 11:30 Eastern and other times. Maybe I should give Greenwich Mean Time from now on. Then I wouldn't be upsetting. But anyways, that is something that's beautiful. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's a real exciting series.
Ross and Seth have moved it up another level. Ross with the preaching and his focus, but Seth with the production has gone great. And I'm really happy that it continues to go upwards. I remember
continuous improvement.
Yeah, I just remember one time when I was first hearing about Ross, he had some podcast, or not even a podcast, but it was a recording of just his voice. Yeah. Yeah, and then we kind of got into all that other stuff. Here comes Miriam again, and it's really gone onwards and upwards, Ross.
Man, it's amazing.
Yeah. So, all right, Miriam, we see you, and your mic is muted, so you got to unmute that mic and see if we can hear you this time. And
there she goes. She unmuted.
Hey, Miriam, can you hear us? Can you speak? Oh, no, I'm not hearing you, Miriam. Shoot. Try one more time, Miriam.
Or maybe get a better connection if she moved somewhere in the house. Can you tell her that, hon?
I think it's. I don't know if she's on a computer or not. Miriam, are you on a computer or on a phone? Maybe your phone doesn't have a good connection. I don't know. I know that there's a lot of issues with this. The Discord kind of now hides the events under a little folder next to the top, so I had to find it there too. Your volume down? Let me see. I'm going to check to see on my side. Your volume's all the way up. I don't know what else we could say, Ross. Any other ideas? Our volume's up on my from the stage point of view. Let me see. Eric, John, and Ross are typing. Miriam, what we should do is sometime, maybe tomorrow, you should just get on Horeb Live, and we should just, the two of us, figure out how to get that thing working better. Without all the people being on for Shabbat,
Right. Do some troubleshooting for you.
Yeah. On a PC, go to the settings and double check stuff because it's funny how it works. Sorry, Miriam. We love you. Shabbat shalom.
If you want to type it in the chat, we can read your question or your comment.
Or your comments. Yeah, if you want to type it in the chat. Okay. No, she's there. It says okay.
Okay.
She's still here.
Okay.
Because that's a beautiful thing. Anyways, as we kind of have flown through summer, we're heading to the fall holy days, and it's amazing that another year will have passed us by. And in the sense of once those holy days are gone, it's kind of over for me. I start thinking of next spring and that kind of thing.
Oh, I'm not there yet. I'm not into pumpkin spice yet. It's still summer.
Yeah.
Can't let that go.
Yeah. 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 You don't mean Nikita, you mean Miriam, Eric? Yes, he means Miriam. Yeah,
Okay.
Nikita was loud and clear. Because that's where it's
I
at.
wonder if Miriam has an IT person that could help her next time, maybe.
Well, I told her that if we got on tomorrow, we could kind of just troubleshoot it with just because you can and people can go and talk anytime on the communities person, and Ross is putting up his TV. You got any new books coming out, Ross, that you want to talk about, or anything else? Forgive me, Lord.
I say funny.
I just think it's really funny, personally. I'm
Right.
sorry.
It's going to be a great class tomorrow. I'm looking forward to anything that Moses says. I want to know.
Yes. We've had cooler days and nights that make us think of fall. Certainly. And Ronnie said his MacBook needed an external microphone. So these things happen. You really don't know why.
Right, the technology is difficult.
Correct. And that's really something.
Charles Sutton says, never give up, Miriam.
Yeah. Never give up, never
give up,
Yeah.
never surrender.
Yeah, I was thinking of his. Clody wants to speak. There we go, Clody. Here we go. It's the Albanian woman. All right. I think I hit it. I hope. Did it go? She should be coming up there. There she is. Hi, Clody.
She's still muted?
She's muted. She
Okay,
knows.
there she goes.
There she goes. Hi, Clody.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, everything's fine.
Shabbat Shalom. I just wanted to share a thought that I've already shared with Ronnie.
Oh, okay.
And we are very, very blessed to have him, by the way.
Definitely.
He is gifted and he understands when people are going through rough patches.
Yeah.
And I think that all of us have some kind of gifts from the Almighty.
Mm.
And what I have been thinking is that all of us are scattered.
Yes.
The United Israel World Union folks
Mm-hmm.
are scattered all over the place.
Yes.
And I don't know. I was twice. I talked to people from United Israel, and I was like, "How can I not be somewhere where one of you is?" And then when we were analyzing, everybody is somewhere where nobody else is.
Yeah.
Right.
And perhaps the force of all forces is using us with his ruach and his energy
Mm-hmm.
for his light.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Who knows how mysterious are the ways of God?
Yes.
That's what I wanted to share.
Yes. I wanted to
see around.
Yeah. So Ralph Bunton told me he's on tonight. He's the executive vice president. He's the executive vice president of United Israel World Union. He told me that David Horowitz said, "Without a united Israel, there can be no world union." And I'll never forget that, Ralph. As long as I can talk. And I also was cleaning out my dad's stuff. We moved all my parents' stuff after they passed into the basement of my business because we have a very big basement. And I got a hat that Ronnie gave my dad. I don't know if you remember this, Ronnie. It said, "Searching for the Lost Tribes" or something like that. Yeah, and that's way back when we all first met. He loved that hat. Yeah. And I just telling you, we are there. And Nikita says every individual place where we are will be a new congregation of the glory of the Most High. Amen. And
I wanted also to remind us of the COVID-19 era.
Yeah.
And how I think that before COVID and after COVID, things are a little bit different because if you talked about God and about seeking God and about soul searching before COVID era,
Mm-hmm.
it was sometimes people bullied.
Yeah.
While after COVID, people are appreciating people that are seeking God.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It's becoming more and more acceptable
Yes.
and admirable. Is an admirable trait nowadays.
Yes.
I think
Before
that-
COVID, it wasn't.
Yes.
that's so true. You know, the saying goes that there's no atheists in foxholes.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes a thing like this will bring people closer to God.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
I don't know the phrase. I have to be much better with the idioms in English. I don't understand.
When you're in a hole that's dug in a war in the front where people are shooting at you and throwing grenades and stuff, all of a sudden you become religious because
Oh,
you
yeah,
think.
yeah.
So that's what it means. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's true. People lose their atheism as they're tumbling down from a car crash. They can in 1 second say, "Oh, maybe there is a God because I'm going to die right now." Anyways, I let.
God,
Yep.
when things are going good.
That's what my dad said.
All
You
the
know.
time.
So Miriam says, I saw this quote from Eleanor Roosevelt. Yesterday is history, tomorrow's a mystery, and today's the gift. That's why they call it the present. Value the present in his presence. Shalom. There you go.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. Yes, Marianne. Yeah, it's pretty true. So anyways, I feel that we are all brought together and everyone has such different understandings and brilliance that no one's just the same. And I think that something I'll put in people's heads in the next meeting that we have, if when we're going to give papers, you people should start thinking about a paper you would like to put together, or maybe a couple of you could come together and write a paper. It doesn't always have to be I don't have to give a paper every time, or well, Ross kind of does, and James likes to, but
All have something to share.
we all have something to share, and there's definitely been a lot of great papers. There's been some not so good papers, but we've let all of them come, and so I think some brilliant people are here, and so I'm very excited.
We at least want to provide a forum where you can share your thoughts and ideas. I think that's going to be really important.
Yes, and even if we have boards where we put people together and talk about issues, women's issues, talk about issues of being lonely. It's like, other than our brother here, it's like Patty and I are alone. I mean, it's very, very, very quiet on the Sabbath around here, and
we used to have a larger gathering of people. We'd make breakfast and.
She's talking.
What happened?
She's talking.
No. I didn't say anything.
Oh, are you talking to an animal or something? Yeah,
No.
Eric's a senior citizen, and so that's why we're trying to do this a fellowship,
For people who are alone on the Sabbath, and there are more than you would think.
And that's why we want you to talk. Some people prefer to type, but it's having that discourse and knowing there are other people having the same thoughts as you, and
you're not. We're here together every Friday night.
Right. And, even Ross is kind of alone, usually talking, or sometimes there's a couple of people there, but he doesn't have a big congregation showing up on Shabbat. And, I am always slightly irritated, and forgive me, when I go and see the little evangelical church down the street. They bring in $25,000 to $30,000 a weekend.
But other religions, look, usually the religions give you the fix to feel good.
Yeah, no, I don't know. They don't want the truth. The truth be damned. They just want to make you feel, and I love the music. I mean, I listened to some of that music, and it really inspired me. But from a musical point of view, but the issue is, at the end of the day, is that if you're going after the truth and nothing but the truth, you're going to be very lonely a lot of times, and this is a way for us to get together. And I'm grateful that people come on and talk, and there's so many different ways which we came, but there are also very similar ways, of which we came.
Right,
And
right.
We are blessed that God brought us together.
yes,
We are so blessed.
yeah, and that's why I think David Horowitz was a very special man. Ralph wrote the book of David, and you should read it because he had a vision that was really based on the Hebrew Bible. And, that's what I get excited about, is talking about the Hebrew Bible.
Yes.
I'm not so much on the New Testament, but as Ross had that good talk, following Jesus out of Christianity, that's what happens. He pointed me towards this book called Torah, and that's where I became, and it doesn't mean I hate Christians or it's not like that. I just want to talk about Moses. I want to talk about Isaiah and Jeremiah and Ezekiel and Amos and Micah, and it goes on. Those people, I believe Jeremiah had some heck of a relationship with God, really, really, really closely. And I believe what he said, and his words come through me like a, powerful, speaking to my soul.
Right,
and,
right.
and as a leader of my company, which is nothing like Moses leading the Israelites, but I feel that pressure that Moses was under, and that, I'm going to strike the rock twice, you idiots. And I don't think he was condemned. I just think he was just so sick of these people complaining. And so, it's just a beautiful thing. Betty was saying, there's Morning is Broken by Cat Stevens. Yes. Yeah. Thanking the Most High for allowing me to be a member of this congregation has been my privilege. Nikita, it's our privilege to have you there.
Yes, absolutely. All of you.
Yeah. Patty and I are thinking of redoing a song with
Amen.
Amen. We're thinking of redoing a song, and that was done by a local, 100 miles away, a musician 100 miles away, and we'll let you know more about that. If we've been asked to possibly be his band for a special night concert, and we're really excited. You will know his name when I tell you.
But we're hoping to bring more music to this thing here.
Yeah. We're going to bring more music, and that's going to be a great thing, because music is, the way we relate to God.
Love.
Well, and all the Psalms are definitely music. And
I don't want to repeat, but I really am impressed when I read that Elisha asked for a musician, and then he got God's prophecy.
yeah,
And on the other hand, we have David, King David, that was a musician.
right.
It's like music is really
Yes.
a way to communicate with God. And
Oh, yeah.
also they say that every planet
Yeah.
has its own music. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No. Betty's asking to speak, because I knew she couldn't. She said she's just listening. That's not true. Betty's always going to say something. Shabbat
Bye-bye,
shalom, Cody,
Shabbat
and
shalom.
God bless you wherever you are, all you people. All right, we're getting Betty up here, and there she is. How we doing?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Thank you. Thank you so much, Dave. I had to laugh at myself because I was not going to say anything tonight. I was just listening and taking everything in, but I can't stand it. I just have to say, I think music is the language of the soul.
Yes.
Does anyone know where that quote came from?
No, I don't.
don't know. But and I think Ronnie says, yes, and Ronnie and I have talked about that energy and vibration of music touches the soul. And I think that's what it does. It goes into our very being.
Yes.
And I remember just really quickly, when I was a little girl, my favorite song was This Little Light of Mine.
Oh, I know that song. Yeah.
You remember that?
Oh,
I
yeah.
remember singing it. I mean, up and down. I taught it to my kids. And
Yeah.
then,
Oh, yeah.
when I was still in Christianity and just I don't know. I read the Bible a lot and loved God, and I just was confused as to who he was. But I wrote a song, and of course it was about light. It's a very simple little thing, and all it is be a light, be a light, be a light of the Lord, be a light, shine your light. Basically, that's it. Shine your light. And then it's let your love flow through me as your voice speaks to me. Be a light, be a light, be a light in the world. And then the next verse is, yes, it's like, I'll be a light. I will, I'll be a light, etc. Very, very simple, like 2 verses and a chorus, like Church of Christ style. But I love that, the whole thing, because his love can't help but flow through us if we open our hearts to him.
Right.
Yes.
And that brings the light that we can shine on others.
Yes. That's true.
I don't know how it works, but it does. And it's just, it's beautiful.
Right.
So, and I just wanted to thank all of you for, I'm getting kind of emotional here, for being who you are. Because, we're all
you are, Betty.
Yes.
You're a successful author that told us about sparks.
Yes.
Well, the sparks, I think the spark started in me when I was a little girl singing Be a Light, or singing This Little Light of Mine, because
Amen.
it just sparked me. Pardon?
You are light, Betty.
Yeah.
Well, sometimes I think we go through difficult things and we let our light grow dim.
Yeah.
But what do we do when we're in a dark room and there's just a little tiny bit of light?
Right.
Well, we turn up the rheostat. We turn it up. So we can do it if we really, really try and really, really pray and have that and want to and make that choice.
Yes.
I agree.
I agree. It is very, very important, and I believe the people here are my brothers and my sisters, and we're connected through this congregation of the Most High, as Nikita says, and I fully agree with that. And like I said, people years from now might look at this on YouTube and say, "Oh my God, there were people that were like us." In the past, so
you don't know what kind of influence you're having on others just by being yourself,
right? And it's the butterfly effect. You just help one person, and that changes the world.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and it's something we look forward to. All right. Well, thank you, Betty.
Thank you.
And
thank you. Thank you so much.
And I'm going to get to bed because Shabbat is calling me very heavily right now. But I wanted to, Miriam had asked us to always read this prayer.
I think we should. That's a good idea.
So it's kind of based on number 6. May Jehovah bless you and keep you. Jehovah make his face shine upon you and be gracious to you. Jehovah turn his face towards you and give you peace. Shabbat shalom, everyone. We love you. And Ross will be out.